Hello and welcome to the first installation of What the Florida. So about 6 years ago, I started coming up with these crazy ideas. I was attempting to date. And if anybody in the South Florida area, you talk about trying to date, it's awful. It's terrible. And you say there's many other fish in the sea, there's also a lot of trash. So anyway, I've had a lot of crazy experiences. I have the personality where I kind of like just say, hey, let's just see how this is gonna go. And so I've been on these crazy dates. But anyways, I wanted to start out first with how I ended up on a date with Elvis.
Looking for trouble? You came to the right place.
So I had briefly signed up for online dating, which I don't really agree with it. Like it seems like online dating is just a whole other, it's a freak show. People aren't really on there, looking for relationships or anything like that. So I was briefly on, I believe it was Bumble, briefly, just for a couple weeks. And I met this guy. And he was the typical, the vast majority of women say they want. He's over 6 feet tall. He's got the dark hair, got the blue eyes, got the whole thing. We ended up talking on the phone. He had a construction company, and we started talking about, doing things like I was working on my house, doing a bunch of different things. And so we had a lot of things in common because I love all my DIY things. And we were talking about art and music and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, this might work. So we had our preliminary phone conversation, and then we set up a date for that Friday. So I was super nervous for the date. And we met at a waterfront restaurant, and we walk in, and I walk up to the hostess stand, and it's busy, it's happy hour. I walk up to the hostess stand and I say, hey, I'm here to meet someone. And right at that moment when I say that, a waft almost like came over me like a wave of cologne. This waft of cologne, and then I go, I think I smell him. And then I turn and I look, and he's sitting at the bar, and he's got this big ear-to-ear grin. I'm like, oh, great, that's my guy with all the cologne. He's got a rum runner in his hand. That becomes a key point later. He's got a rum runner in his hand. We, sit down, start doing like that first date thing. Like now we've seen each other, sizing each other up, doing that whole thing. And he just starts talking and talking. So first thing I find out about him, he has a house in Lighthouse Point. I was new to the area, so I didn't know that that's oh, that's a fancy neighborhood. I should have been excited about that. I was new. I didn't realize that I should have been like, oh, okay, like hair flip. He starts telling me about that. I'm like, okay. Then I guess because maybe that was my thing, because that wasn't something that I got excited about or impressed about. Then he started telling me, I used to previously work as a photographer for about 25 years. I specialized in families, weddings, babies, that kind of thing. And then I have switched to that. Now I have a bathing suit boutique. But anyway, that's a different story. He starts telling me that he wants me to shoot new headshots for him, because he also, outside of the construction company that he has, he also works as a stunt double. And I'm like, oh, okay, work as a stunt double? Cool. Who do you work as a stunt double for? And then he says Sylvester Stallone. And then I'm like, what? Isn't Sylvester Stallone 5'7" or something? I know he's not a very tall guy. And this guy, I think, is 6'4", 6'5". He's a big guy, big, good looking guy. And I'm like, oh, okay, how does that work? So then immediately I just start thinking, this guy's pulling my leg. There's no way that this guy's a stunt double. And then he tells me that what he wants to do for the headshots to update all of his records is he wants to fly me to Philadelphia, and he wants to do shots of him going up the stairs that he went up in Rocky. And I'm just going, I've had some people say some crazy things to me, but I just start going, all right. But anyway, so we have that conversation. I've sat down, I've had a glass of wine. He's gotten us, he's gotten a second rum runner, but he had a rum runner when we came in. He starts to, we get into that conversation where we talk about previous relationships, and then he tells me that he owns a restaurant with his ex-wife, and I just start going, All right, well that's a little scary. You know, you're still all tied up with your ex-wife. We get through that. We order dinner. You know, at this point we're already about an hour into the date, and I've just decided I'm just gonna see where this goes because it's good conversation. He's funny. He's good looking. Like, you know, let's just see where this goes. I get another glass of wine. We have one of those like freak rainstorms come in that Florida like frequently has during the summer, where it just comes in and just dumps like a tremendous amount of water in a short amount of time, and we're sitting like right on the water, and so the wind comes in and blows sideways. When that happens, it makes his hair, I realize, is like hairsprayed into place. It makes the whole top of his hair like flip over, and then he sees that I see that, and I'm like, oh. And of course I have one of those faces that my face can have a whole conversation, even if on the inside I'm like, it's normal, you're not saying anything, you're just sitting here maniacally smiling. No one can tell that you're going, ooh, what is happening? So I must have said something, because then he tells me the whole story about that he is a retired Elvis impersonator. And I'm like, what? So then he starts telling me the story about like, oh, that he was working in Dollywood. He was very successful at it. But then the problem was that he started going down the same path that Elvis was, you know, like women, drinking, drugs, the whole thing. And he realized he was going down the wrong path. He needed to stop. And at this point, I just start going, all right. And then this is when the server comes over. We've gone through our dinners. We've had all this stuff. He orders another rum runner. And then he complains to the hostess that these rum runners aren't very strong. Can you make sure they put more alcohol in them? And I know that rum runners are loaded with alcohol. Loaded. They're frozen, fruity, sweet drinks if you've never had one. And then his also, you can ask for extra alcohol on top. He's got like dark rum on the top. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I mean, yeah, he's a big guy, but I can also tell, you know, he was pre-gaming. He absolutely was pre-gaming. So he orders that other one. And I'm like, well, when in Rome. So I get another glass of wine too. Now I only suck up wine. And then, you know, at this point, like, he just keeps talking and talking and talking. And I think he just really forgot to ask me anything about me, because the more I'm just kind of like listening and to everything, I'm probably like, he just felt like he needed to talk more and more and more. So anyway, we finish up the dinner, and then he walks me out to my Uber, and I'm like, okay, this guy's like super hammered. I've had too much wine as well, and this is not gonna work out. So then he walks me out to the car, and the guy, and as I'm telling this story, I'm realizing that there really isn't much wrong with this guy. He was just really nervous. If you hear that noise in the background, that is my bird chirping in the background. There's not really anything wrong with that guy. He was just nervous. It's me. It's me. I'm the drama.
Maybe I am. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
I saw all these red flags in this guy, instead of just point blank saying like, hey, did you have a couple drinks ahead of time? Were you nervous for this date? Because I certainly was. Like, maybe we don't need to have as many cocktails. It was me, because he was actually self-aware enough he walks me out to my Uber, and he says, well, I'm not going to ask you for a kiss because I don't think I'm your dream guy, am I? And I was just like, oh, and I gave him a hug. I'm like, oh, we'll talk later. I'm going to go now. And then now that I'm like relaying this story of how I ended up on a date with Elvis, it was me. I hope that this guy has found a wonderful partner, that they're madly in love, and yeah, here I am years later thinking about like, hey, I ended up on a date with Elvis. I was the red flag, because I didn't just say, hey, like, we don't need to keep drinking or anything. Are you nervous? Because I'm nervous too. Okay, so I'm logging on again. So I had originally posted this video about going on my date with Elvis, and then I got kind of nervous, like, hey, wait a minute. Was he really Sylvester Stallone's Stunt double? Maybe I should Google it and find out if he actually was. He wasn't. So maybe I really wasn't the drama. I mean, I can be the drama. Absolutely. I can absolutely be the drama. But yeah, turns out on this case, it was just my spidey sense going, this is no good. So yeah, I had to do an update on it and then re-upload the video. So anyway, I have tons of other dating stories. Elvis is not the only one. I've got tons of crazy stories about living in Florida and how it was a culture shock for me when I first got here. And so please like and subscribe. I have all of my things that are on here. I've got a million of these other stories, and maybe there'll be a little bit more introspection where I find out that it's me. I'm the drama. So anyway, what the Florida? It was me! It was me all along. Elvis was fine. He was just nervous. Huh. Yeah. Anyway.